So this is called the result. If you have a view that is mistaken, I'm sorry, if you have a view that is unmistaken, there's a big difference here. If you have a view that is unmistaken, receive instructions that are appropriate and correct. Meditate without error, neither too tight nor too loose. By the way, whatever I read, I'm going to build it into the meditation. So, and I have no idea what we're doing because this is new to me as I'm reading this. Neither too tight nor too loose. Have conduct free of attachment, unstained by faults, and keep your commitments without feeling any shame before the deities and the beings. Then you will, without a doubt, gain the necessary desired results. It is like the example of a medicinal tree. When the ground, seed, time, water, compost, and all the correct factors for the dependent origination of the result are present, then even the seedling will be able to cure illness. Therefore, the entire trunk, branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits, with their complete qualities, will heal illness. If negative factors of dependent origination have the power to result in suffering, then good, unmistaken factors will obviously bring excellent and the most exquisite happiness. If emptiness, without method and wisdom, results in the bliss of the Shravakas and the Pratyeka Buddhas, then the inseparability of emptiness and compassion will obviously result in the location of this free, great bliss. So I will stop there. So the indivisibility, that last line, the indivisibility of emptiness and compassion is really key here. All of these practices that we do are seen to rely on this union of awareness and compassion. So when we feel calm, and some of you last week mentioned, wow, you felt really, really good after meditation and very calmed and settled. Often along with that feeling comes a real spirit of generosity, a spirit of open-heartedness. And this is natural. Emptiness and compassion are basically the same kind of quality in this case. So emptiness not meaning nothingness or an absence of all things, but rather an absence of all of the clinging and all the grasping and projecting. In fact, it is the presence of all things in unmanifested form. And this is the understanding of emptiness. Emptiness is the unmanifested where all is present to you. But it's not in particularized form. It is this sense of one mind, one awareness, what we call single taste in Mahamudra. So basically this sort of cryptic term, Mahamudra, which literally means great gesture. Mudra is a gesture, Maha is great. What it really refers to is just the uniqueness and the kind of the potential in the practice itself. And Mahamudra being classified into four main categories. And the first one is shamatha. Has anyone heard this term before, shamatha? Calm abiding. This is when we practice mindfulness and we focus on body and breathing and we sort of begin to change our relationship with our feeling states and even with our own thoughts. And we're able to simply hold them in a certain way by concentrating the mind, by just focusing it gently. As this text says, not too tight and not too loose. The mind settles naturally through just the right application of concentration. So it's not a strained, concentrative practice, quite the contrary. It's a very light, finely tuned awareness that rests. And when it drifts, we recognize, we bring it back. This attunement is known in the Buddhist canon, in the Pali canon, as being that like a stringed instrument, like a lute. And actually, it's called the parable of the lute, that our practice is just like a finely tuned lute, that the strings are not too tight, not too loose, and then they are perfectly in tune. And this is what the mind does when we cultivate this attunement, when our effort, our energy is effortless, but with just enough presence. Not too tight, not too loose. It's a great term. You hear this often um, in Buddhist teachers who are talking about meditation practice. And just the cultivation of shamatha is just that. Lightly, holding the center lightly with a presence of awareness. Notice if you're drifting, bring it back. Breathe, focus in on the breath, and ultimately on the one who is simply bearing witness. Um, so shamatha is the first stage. It's just a very finely tuned, concentrated attention that allows the mind to settle on its own. And the second stage is um, Vipassana. And I have a feeling some of you have probably heard of this. In the Pali term, it's called Vipassana. In Tibetan or in the Sanskrit, it's called Vipassana. And it's largely the same state, Vipassana, that last stage of mindfulness, insight. Vipassana is often called insight meditation because what we're doing is gaining insight into the nature of the mind, the ephemeral, impermanent nature of all the experiences that come and go. We find, wow, I am not defined by these thoughts and these identifications that I have. Interesting. I can actually hold these and bear witness that my suffering is a result of clinging and of getting embroiled in them rather than just simply bearing witness to what is happening within me. So this is the second stage, is once we've cultivated attunement, a finely tuned instrument of awareness, of mind, of attention, leading to a calm openness, then that insight into the nature of things becomes easier. It becomes revealed. The impermanence of things becomes more apparent, of all things, really, except for this quality of abiding presence, what we can also call the changeless. Um, and that quality opens to the third stage, which, as I mentioned a moment ago, is single taste or one taste, which is non-duality. It's awareness that is self-evident, not particularizing things and categorizing them and judging this to be good and that to be bad, but really it's kind of that non-dual hosting presence, as we talked about last time, that just manifests. This is the underlying nature of mind, and it is empty and bright. Yeah. The last stage and the fourth is non-meditation, which asks us to just basically relinquish meditating altogether. So we're not meditating. I'm going to sit and I'm going to practice and meditate. Boy, I'm going to meditate the heck out of this mind of mine and hopefully I'll feel better. Good luck. Rather, don't try so hard to meditate. And in fact, allow the fruits of your meditation to be so natural and spontaneous that they arise in any given moment. They are self-arising by our recognition that we can only fully be mindful in the present. We can be mindful of the future and of the past, but we were not there when we're being mindful. So when we get off the cushion and we go on and make dinner or we'll go to work or what have you, um, that non-meditation is the quality of being left with the imprint of our practice, and not that practice is just trying to meditate on your cushion, but rather the fruits of it imbue, they perfume the rest of your life. We remember to be mindful, and wherever we are, that is non-meditation, the fourth. So it's a very straight, in a way, it's a very straight path, but it's also a spiral. It's not a straight line. we're given this roadmap, and each of these stages comes with a deepening. We may practice shamatha and feel really groovy and like settled and experience this non-dual awareness just present and warm and full of this compassion. Um, and then the mind starts up again, right? It's not linear. And the more we practice, the more we encounter these four stages at a deeper level. So it's not that we're trying to become experts in anything, but rather we're trying to take these basic concepts and deepen them as we go. And this is how we progress on the path and how we integrate our Dharma practice, our meditation practice, our path with the rest of our lives.